Hello, welcome, hi. It's me again, or you, of course. That's why you're here. But it's Population Me, this is Miracle, and it's January, which means a lot of things, right? It means new beginnings, it means new goals, and it means if you're in school right now, it is time to start applying for jobs and looking for those internships and not slacking behind. And yes, I'm speaking to the ones who are still in school, new grads, looking for jobs, or just need to have a little bit of help. So obviously, new year, new goals, right? I went to the gym today, like I told you guys I would, and I was really, really tired. Like it was cold outside, I was freezing. As you know, I'm in Chicago, so of course it's snowing on right now. And I was just thinking, like, oh my god, it is that time of year again. It is literally that time of year again to apply for more jobs. Not for me. I like my job, I like where I work, but I was in this position like 2 years ago. I am no longer considered a new grad. I have been a year out of school now, at least a little bit over, almost 2 years now. By the time May rolls around, I graduated in 2023 from IIT, which is a tech private school in downtown Chicago. And I just had some things I wanted to say because I think I made a video about this a while ago about the do's and don'ts about resume building and just having like a really good structure of how to apply for jobs. But you know, as we all know, since 2023, the job market has only looked, can I say terrible? Can I say really, really bad? Like I currently have some friends right now who are looking towards their second job out of college because the first one either didn't work out or they want to go to a different path. May or may not be of their own design. And the job market for them has been a struggle. And I just want to like maybe shed some light on some of the things that could help potential new grads or even people who really need to have that second opinion about what their resume should look like. So I don't know if this is going to be like a series or this is going to be a one-time video because I kind of want to break down how I kind of got jobs but not make it about me for once and just kind of give you guys a rundown of how jobs were kind of told to us per resume and just having it overall. So hopefully this will be a good video for anyone who needs it, or you can share it if you must, or if you need to. And hopefully it's still applicable because this is what I kind of did 2 years ago, and seeing how the market is right now for a lot of jobs, this is how it still is. And this is a disclaimer: I am not like I don't make resumes for a living. I do not work in the industries of looking at resumes. I am not HR. I do not work with recruiting at all. I very much just do resumes. I help people with the resumes. I help them look at like jobs and tell them like this is how you fix resumes within my friend group, within people I know, my family members. So anything I say is more or less take it with a grain of salt unless you really, really need like assistance and Reddit could help you. So welcome, of course. As you know, I'm also writing now in my little notebook for once, as you, of course. It's my journal, but when it comes to video ideas, I need it as well because it is empty. So if I look down, it's because I'm looking down on my book as well. But let's get into it. These are the do's and don'ts of resume building. And it's just resumes. That's why I said it's a series. We might talk more about like applying for the jobs itself. And really just how do you filter through the ghost hunting of LinkedIn and everything and how you get through like multiple rounds of interviews. But those are going to be long-winded videos and I never want to put them in one video because I have to edit it and I don't want to do that. So customize your resume. Full stop, customize it, okay? You do not need a cover letter. Those are so 2020 nowadays. Cover letters are the thing that people taught us in high school that we really needed once we go into college, but then college happened and then we realized we're not making a cover letter for more than 2 companies at a time. And if anyone else wants a cover letter, ChatGPT can write it up for me. I'll fix it up so it sounds less than AI and I'll send it over. On average, recruiters look at your resume like for 7 seconds. And that's if there's a human person reading it. More likely than not, they're like using an AI nowadays. So you don't really want to write a cover letter that may or may not be by your hands. Just for an AI tracker to read it, realize it's not what they want, and to discard it anyway. So you might be feeling like you're wasting time with cover letters because at some points they can take more time than just making a resume. So you definitely want to customize your resume. You don't want to have one resume and then you want it to go for every single job out there. You definitely want it to look like a job you're looking for. So let's say you're CS, you're computer science, but you don't want to be a software developer but you're also looking into product management because, I don't know, maybe they have that kind of thing in their school. You don't want the same resume for both, obviously. Let's say software developer versus full stack developer. Might be different things to different people, might sound the same thing to a lot of people, but depending on the job that you're applying to, they might have this in the description that you have, and you don't want to mix them up by having it on the same exact resume when they're AI tracker, because nowadays it's usually AI. You don't want them to look at it and say to themselves, oh, they don't have what we have, and you probably have the skills, but you didn't put your resume, or it wasn't brash enough for them to have noticed it through their AI. So it's definitely a good idea to have more than one resume. Just starting off, having just two or three is really good. You don't want to stay in a bubble of just like one job description unless you really, really want it. Then make sure you drill it into your resume. Also, make sure it's one page. We can't do CVs around here anymore, unfortunately. Do two, apply for everything. Now, the job market nowadays is full with, as I said, a lot of ghost jobs. A lot of jobs that employees don't actually need filled, or they've been filled for months now, and they just leave it up on LinkedIn, Indeed, or even Monster Jobs, which I don't know why that's still a website. But realistically, you don't want to apply for the 5 jobs like you're applying to college. It's no longer like, oh, these are the 5 top jobs I really want, so I'm going to drill everything into it. You definitely still should do that. When it comes to applying for jobs, you don't want to stop at 5 and then think you're done and then just wait for your application to be sent back. Because most of the time, you don't get anything back. Even the rejection, you don't get them back. At least for college, we can get rejection. And they hurt, but you know they were thinking about you in the end. In this case, you don't want to stop and say 5 or 10 or 15 jobs are enough. And I know that applying for jobs can feel like a full-time job. I should know, I've been there. But at the end of the day, if you really want something that can help provide for you and maybe your family, you cannot stop at just the jobs that you applied for. You have to go everywhere. And with a lot of jobs being fake anyway, it becomes a little harder to distinguish what is real versus what you need to throw away and not look at. So it's always good to go for those quick apply jobs if you're on LinkedIn or even Indeed, and just apply for everything else that you really truly want throughout the main website. It's never a good idea to really go on Indeed or LinkedIn if you're looking for Snapchat, for example. I will be keeping this software developer job as my main example, even though I'm not a software developer, because the job market is just very interesting right now, and it's kind of fun to talk about it as an outsider. But yeah, make sure you apply for at least 70% of the jobs you see out there, because even though you might necessarily not want to do that job, or you might think it's a great fit because you might not like the company, or maybe something about it doesn't help you, at the end of the day, it doesn't hurt to just keep the name out there in case you feel the need to revisit your job application and realize, I'm not getting anything back, I should just apply for these jobs anyway. You would have done it by now. And then do 3. This is one that most people have really heard about, but not people like it, and I understand why. And this one is to use your resources, use your, as everyone's favorite N-word, networking. Yes, I know, not the word everyone here, but no one likes to do. And I understand. Networking can be very difficult, especially if you're on LinkedIn. Everyone's posting about the best thing that ever happened to them when they got the 7-figure salary off the job of going to like a Stanford University with a CS major in their hand at Netflix. Like, yes, we get it. You're amazing. You did great. You hit the lottery. But I don't want to talk to someone who has that much prosperity towards them, and I'm over here trying to look for the next office Amazon job in Seattle. Great opportunity, yes, but I don't know how much bragging one person can do off LinkedIn that they won't transfer into their real lives. But of course, networking is very important, not just looking for an opportunity to get open offers at these jobs, but also just have referrals. If you have a lot of these software jobs, especially the big ones, if you want FANG, or you don't like FANG, or you want one of the medium big companies, they really do like referrals nowadays. They like to know that you talk to someone within their company and has really gotten connection with those people. Whether or not it works, it is a counting-based question. It's really hard to say by statistics if they help you, but more likely than not, if you ask someone if a referral can help get them a job, more likely they'll say yes. If you don't get a job with a referral, I would just say keep trying, because that is how the market is. Nowadays, more people are realizing that referrals are power when it comes to this, or even talking to an HR recruiter before you apply and just getting a little bit of key notes about the information they have. It becomes a lot easier for them to realize, if I have these type of information and connections, it can make getting a job a lot more. Obviously, you still need the skills to back it up. So if you're lying on a resume, don't lie too much. But you didn't hear that from me. Last but not least, polish up your LinkedIn. I know it's not everyone's favorite social media for jobs app right now. It might honestly be one of your worst apps on your phone outside of TikTok. But honestly, you have to polish up your resume. You have to polish up your LinkedIn. It is like your social media. It is where jobs will go to and see what people are doing and what prospective clients and candidates are doing there. I'm not saying post every single week about what you're doing for, the time off you're looking for a job. But if you have like old jobs on there that aren't up to date, or you have skills that you need to like do or update, or you want to take advantage of LinkedIn's free learning that on there to get like new certificates that can back up for Microsoft Office, for example, it doesn't hurt to like do that and show it off on LinkedIn. You get a lot more eyes on it, and some of those eyes could be recruiters, and they are always looking for more people to like get jobs. You know how you get like sponsored like messages from like these random ass schools to actually go to a master's degree or some random major that you never actually talked about? I don't know why it did it to me either. I don't like those majors, but they can do the same thing for HR, and they can get you to do more job opportunities that you would never have done with outside LinkedIn. LinkedIn is just the biggest company right now when it comes to looking for jobs, and while it is kind of the Tinder of dating apps, you do kind of still need it to get your name out there. So it wouldn't hurt to try it and at least get a little taste of it before you fully write off your list completely. And if you ever do, make sure you have a good backup, because not a lot of companies can do what LinkedIn does. Even if you go for the smaller ones that maybe Glassdoor could do a lot better, yes, but you're not exactly looking for opportunities and recruiters there to really help you build that connection and get you your next job. So it wouldn't hurt to do that. But yeah, those are all the to-dos you should do for looking for a job, at least in a sense of broadly based. But let's get into some very popular don't do those. And we're going to kind of talk about why those aren't popular anymore. So the first one, I kind of already said, but is don't use a one-size-fit-all resume. You obviously need to tailor it to like having different job descriptions. Now, they can be a full-time day opportunity to do yourself. So I would say stick to 2 to 3 resumes. If you need more, you can make more down the line, but you don't want to stretch yourself too thin because you are applying to multiple jobs with these titles. And you don't want to have to keep tailoring it for like the million jobs that you want to apply for that have a million descriptions. Stick to 2 or 3 title descriptions, favorite to like the most counting words for each one, and then just make a resume out of it. AI can be very useful outside of taking people's jobs, apparently. So use ChatGPT if you really need to get some words down for those sentences. The second don't do is do not ignore the descriptions of those job descriptions. So that's twice. Don't worry about it. When you're looking for a job, you might want to skim through it or not look at it very well. To just go straight to qualifications to make sure you understand, oh, this is what they need. I need to just apply for the job because I think I can do it. No. Make sure your resume has some of those words in it, because those AI are tapping real quick for 2 or 3 words that are in the qualifications and the descriptions that will be very useful, but be very detrimental to you, that even if you could have been a perfect candidate, if a regular person saw it, scratch that, a regular qualified person can see that. We might talk about HR people leaving and being replaced by people who aren't qualified in another video. But you definitely don't want to skip out on getting a simple job like, let's go back to my Amazon description. You might be a great software developer. You might have so many skills in full stack and engineering. But if you don't have simple words like JavaScript or even TypeScript or whatever CS people talk about on resumes and these job descriptions, you're already out of one job because you didn't look at it and really tailor it. So that's why most people say applying for jobs and looking at your resume is like a 9 to 5 in itself, but without the pay. The third don't is keep all your social media private. Keep them private, keep them hidden. If you are applying for a lot of jobs and they start to get you to the interview round, so this might be a bit later than a lot of people, you don't want your social media to be rambunctious and crazy and have so many things going on for people in certain markets, because some jobs really do look at your social media and they do ask you if you have any, because sometimes they're a little bit lazy, but they are looking towards making sure you're the right candidate and won't spill the tea on them if you ever do get a job. I could say, at the personal experience, I only ever really had like Instagram and Snapchat. So it's very hard for someone to like look at my information and say, hey, this is someone who doesn't have has weird stuff, because you can't really get to my Snapchat because it's already a private viewing. And then my Instagram is not under my name. So good luck finding me. But also, you just cannot find me anyway, so I've already done a good job. And that was before I even looked for a job. I just didn't like my name to be out there personally. But if you have like a TikTok, if you have like a Twitter under your name, you probably shouldn't have a Twitter under your name. But I've seen people on Twitter get fired because they said a few jokes and it was about their job and they got fired from it. It got them a lot of views, so they're rolling in dough right now, but they did lose their job. So it would be good to keep your social media private or not have so many crazy things going on. If your social media is great, you don't do anything like that, then just keep it open. But most of the time, they might not really even check. It's just a good rule of thumb because you never do know what company might check and what company might just let us screw over it until you get hired. And then they check, and then you're like, oh, background checks, got paid for yourself. But at the end of the day, you get the job, so it's fine. Next don't is do not apply to too little jobs. Some things are kind of like I just said the don't of the do's. But said before, apply for everything. Don't apply to 10, don't apply to 20 jobs in the span of 3 weeks. It might sound like you're doing a lot, and maybe it feels like a lot when you're like filling in the same exact name and address and information over and over again. And it definitely is, but you definitely don't want to apply to too little jobs because for every job you apply for, 10 more of those jobs that you looked at were ghost jobs. And you just can't tell which one. So it's always better to just know that if you apply a lot more, your success for getting to a real job is not only better, but your success to get a real interview has also increased. But it can be very tough. So I understand if you don't want to do so many jobs in one day or one sitting, which is why it gets me to my next point. Remember to take breaks. Always take breaks. Remember when I said applying for jobs can be your full 9 to 5 without the pay? Yeah, it kind of feels like overtime as well, but still without the pay. You do not want to apply for too many jobs in one sitting and then look at your computer and stare at it for days on end, and then leave the computer and feel like you haven't done much because all you did was apply to the same Walgreens job like 10 different times, 10 different locations, and all you feel is like you're going to get a rejection the next day because you realize you put in the wrong format for your resume. That kind of felt personal for some reason. But I do want to say, take breaks. You can still get burnout from all this. This is not something that feels like a hobby for most people. This creates people's lives. You do not want to start off the new year looking for jobs and then already feeling burnt out before you even get to your first interview. And this is kind of a PSA that your mental health does matter. And these days and age, when everything is kind of getting to the point of just dumping toxicity into a fire and watching it blow up in people's face, you could use some, alone time. Put down your devices. Go outside. Maybe not now, it's cold. But go outside, read a book, detach from the internet because the internet is where you're seeing all these jobs and where you're going to see the worst of the worst. And you don't want to see all that while you're mentally dealing with having to find a job within a time limit that even your jobs will understand. But yeah, that's really all of my do's and don'ts. And I really hope that some of them, if not all, can be somewhat helpful and maybe a little bit too broad, of course. But I hope in the next video of this series, I can get more in detail about how you actually do very well once you get past the job, and maybe even get you to the point of how to network. Because I know a lot of people, when I was in school, hated the word networking. I did too. I don't want to talk to random people on the internet. That's weird. Let's get a job. But nowadays, it seems like a lot more important, and I've gotten a lot better at talking with people because I have to with my job, which is fine, I guess. But if I had to choose. But at the end of the day, we're social beings, is what they keep telling us. So we kind of have to do what we gotta do. But yeah, that's all for today's video. And I'll see you next time in whatever series I have going on this week. But yeah, let me know what kind of things you heard about, what your do's and don'ts. What have you done for your own resume? What has worked for you? And maybe we can all learn something from each other. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time in another video.